Stephen Hawking and others who are involved in the an artificial intelligence debate and the development of machines that think in a way that could be called an artificial intelligence, which I still question, have this idea that at some point in the future, an artificial intelligence machine or machines will become so advanced that they will see that it is necessary to eradicate human beings. That is not the hallmark of something that is more intelligent than we are. That is the hallmark of something that is the product of a classic paranoid schizophrenic. A something, in this case, that thinks that we shouldn't exist and therefore should kill us. What I find bothersome, disturbing about the presentation of that idea is that no one in the AI community, as it's called, has stopped to say, wait a minute, we are the people who develop these machines, and you mean to tell me we're not going to develop into these machines this idea that killing something else is bad? That we are going to develop essentially machines that are paranoid schizophrenics? Paranoid schizophrenics are racist. You know, the classic idea of the white person that thinks a black person is going to kill them or harm them or is less intelligent, and they make all of their decisions with respect to, say, a black person or a white person because of these unhealthy prejudices they built up in their mind. You mean to tell me we're going to model that in an AI fashion? That's essentially what we're talking about here. You know, I had a friend who thought of himself as smarter than everybody else, and just to trip him up, I used to go into black slang just because I knew it pissed him off. And he would become so irrational that it was very easy to win an argument with him. Think of that approach applied to the Turing test with machines, right? No one's done it. And so, because no one's done it, we come up with this point of view that some machines can think at the level of a 13-year-old. Look, a 13-year-old black gangbanger? I don't think so. No. And then without regard to sex? Oh, come on, give me a break. 13-year-old black gangbangers are showing pictures of girls that they screwed in their privates, all right? And then they're talking to you about them, all right? And if you think that's dirty and you think that has nothing to do with AI, then in point of fact, you really don't know what you're talking about. We have to come to grips with the fact that we don't know what makes us tick ourselves. But here is the much larger problem. We're talking about developing devices that essentially are designed to be so paranoid schizophrenic that they destroy us. Which means that the people developing these machines may very well themselves be a form of paranoid schizophrenic. Think of the Turing test, all right? No one ever talks about Alan Turing or whether or not Alan Turing was racist. The whole point is that Alan Turing was gay, so the assumption was that he wasn't racist. But we're talking about between 1930 and 1950, mid-50s when he passed away, at a time when blacks were routinely discriminated against, black men were hung from trees, you couldn't look at a white girl and everything else. What did Alan Turing think during those days? It's really freaking hard to find out a document. And yet this is the man who came up with this test where you could determine whether or not a thing was a machine or a person. And someone using that, a form of the Turing test, came to the conclusion that a computer actually had the same intellect as a 13-year-old. Again, the intellect of a 13-year-old black gangbanger? I don't think so. Not at all. No. This conversation is so wildly out of control, so wildly irrational, but so structured within the framework of those in the community who only talk among themselves, that we don't stop and think about the value structures that we're communicating to the outside world, or rather they're communicating to the outside world, those who are involved in the argument. They need to stop, take a time out, and be honest with themselves. It's not a question of, will these machines become more intelligent than we are? No. The question is, are we designing machines that are going to behave in a way that is criminal and that is psychotic? And are the people designing these machines themselves puny value structures that are essentially psychotic and criminal.